How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. We're bringing you guys yet again another update on XRP. If you're enjoying these daily XRP updates, please do not forget to smash that like button and hit that red subscribe button. It does go a long way, and I would need each and every one of you guys' support. But anyhow, if we're looking across the board right now, as far as the market is concerned, you're starting to see, majority of the market once again tumbling towards the downside. We're seeing a lot of volatility this week. Obviously, there's some external factors as well that is causing the market to kind of see a little bit of a shift. But we are starting to see some coins still in the green, and we're still seeing quite large amounts of gains for some of these coins that are up. But if you're looking at the last 1 hour to be specific, the broader market is up right now. But XRP is at $2.17, down about 0.4% in USD. We're up about 0.1% in Bitcoin comparative. The valuation at $127.7 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about $1.4 billion. But before we get into it further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in cryptocurrency. So take a look at this. BlackRock now holds 3% of all Bitcoin through its ETF. 3% of all BTC through its ETF. Why are we seeing, even though when the market tumbled towards the downside, we did see that major correction, regardless of that, you were still seeing BlackRock, coming on board, accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible. And in such a short span of time, we're talking about a 3%. That is not a small number. That is not just a small number that we should just be forgetting about. You're looking at 3%, and that's just BlackRock alone. Imagine all the other ones like Wisdom Tree and, Franklin Templeton, Van Eck, Bitwise, Fidelity, Grayscale, these big ones, these big institutions, big asset managers. Imagine, we add all that up. We're looking at the likes of, this number being much higher than, 3%. And that really shows you which direction this is going. The more Bitcoin that they have, the more control they have on that asset. And they want to have a piece of the pie. They understand, where this asset class is going. The whole world is behind it. And of course, these guys are not slowing down. The big money is accumulating right now. And how does this impact XRP, you may be asking? This is where we speculate, right? We saw XRP ETF, spot ETF, being listed on none other than the Toronto Stock Exchange. Wow, very, very, talking fast. Apologies on that. But, we are seeing that happening. That is literally sending shockwaves to people that understand the magnitude of XRP, a native token, getting that spot ETF in Canada. That really gives us a better understanding, the demand factor there really is for these digital assets. And I think in a short span of time, we're going to see these big names really coming on board with XRP. And imagine at this record, imagine even like 10, 20%. We're not even talking about this much. Imagine 10, 20% of this amount of inflows coming into XRP once it gets that ETF. This is where the excitement really lies. And I could not be more excited. But moving forward, look at this. So it begins. Banks consider joint stablecoin. We got JP Morgan, Bank of America, Citi, and Wells Fargo. All these big companies are coming on board, and they want to take part of, these stablecoin. They understand, the benefit of stablecoin. They understand on top of that the benefit of blockchain technology. And this is something that we shouldn't really be ignoring, which I think a lot of people right now are ignoring. So on top of that, look at this. Ripple is legally allowed to offer cross-border payment services to the U.S. financial institutions using RLUSD and XRP. We can go over this document. It says Ripple regulatory strategy focused on state-level compliance, securing over 50 MLTs across U.S. These licenses allow Ripple to legally offer cross-border payment services using XRP, the native token, and its RLUSD stablecoin, facilitating expanded access to the U.S. financial system. Bank of America and Standards obviously is some of the big names that are attracted and obviously are partners with Ripple. So once again, another example for us. Moving forward, Standard Chart, it says RWA tokenization is a $30 trillion opportunity. $30 trillion. And we're seeing these big names come in on board and talking positive about tokenization. And now, how does this benefit XRP? Remember, the XRP ledger is that one-stop shop for these big financial institutions to come on board and tokenize their assets. We're already starting to see how tokenization can just change the game. And I think, in the next few years to come, we're going to see literally everything tokenized, and it's going to be just revolutionary, the way we do finance and interact, when it comes to financially. So that's going to be obviously very exciting. But Donald Trump has come out and said something about Jerome Powell for not cutting the, rates. So you can see what he says. Too late, Jerome Powell is costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars. He is truly one of the craziest and the destructive people in the government, and the Fed board is complicit. Europe has had 10 cuts. We have had none. We should be 2.5 points lower and save billions on all Biden short-term debt. We have low inflation, too late, and American disgrace. So he's pretty much saying that, we need to see a rate cut. That's pretty much what everyone's been saying. We need a little bit of a rate cut, even 0.25, BPS, but we still have not seen that happening. But I think we might see that happening maybe next time, or, September, which would align in terms of the timing. I think that would be perfect. But that is something we need to consider right now. And believe it or not, once you see a rate cut happening in the US by the feds, this could really bring in excitement towards, the crypto markets once again. And because of course, investors will be more leaning towards riskier assets to invest in. When interest rates are so high, people are not willing to go on board and obviously start investing. Because think about it, if interest rates go down, a lot of people do tend to save some money, and maybe the money they're saving that they could start putting into the market. So that's where this whole thing comes into play. But look at this, Andos Finance says, we believe that XRP Ledger is the ideal technology to power the future of finance and a global on-chain economy that is practical, safe, and built for everyone, not just crypto natives. Here we have it. And last but not least, 3iQ has come out and said this once again. 3iQ makes history. We are proud to share that 3iQ XRP ETF was officially listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange this week. Our team joined the TSX team to close the market and ring the closing bell at the TMX Money to mark XRPQ's first day of trading. This moment marks not only a major milestone for us, but also a significant step towards, forwards the broader digital asset industry. I could not agree more. Exciting times ahead as we continue building together. Very, very, very good stuff. But let's take a look at, what's happening with the price. So as far as the price is concerned, if you're looking at the dominance, dominance is sitting about 64.83%, so not much has changed. BTC, on the other hand, is still kind of ranging. I'm showing you guys the hourly time frame, kind of focus on pretty much since the 17th. You're kind of seeing a little bit of a range kind of playing out here. We're coming across that $105,450 resistance several times. You need to break out and start heading to the major resistance at 106,000. I've said this 1,000 times on my channel. You guys know the significance of this. Every time we cross that, we know what happened. So that is a level we need to be watching out for. As far as XRP is concerned, only focusing on the hourly here, we're still ranging pretty much neckline of what the Bitcoin price is doing. Really replicating that, and really once again a continuous reminder how good XRP has been accumulating, which a lot of people overlook, but it is what it is. It's accumulating really nicely regardless of dominance being this high, and I think the next leg up will be very exciting depending on what happens with the dominance. But I'm very optimistic in my own personal opinion. At the end of the day, it's my own personal opinion, only time will tell, but I do believe the next leg up will be shocking to a lot of people. But again, only time will tell. Let me know down below what you guys think. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.